Hi guys, welcome back. A little bit late, but definitely worth the wait. We're going to be taking a look at the dates of December 8th to December, is it 14th, 18, 19, 20? Wait, what were we saying? 18, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14th. Yes. So we'll be taking a look at the energies that will be in the air for the dates of Monday, December 8th to Sunday, December 14th. But you guys know how these readings go. These readings are actually timeless and signless. And so, actually, if you're tuning in, just know that there are themes there that are active for you and they could relate to you. And as always, if you struggle to see where those themes are playing out in your life, then I would invite you to come back at a different time and see if you can identify it then. Before we jump into the reading, I'd like to do a little bit of clearing for us. I think it would be nice to always do a little bit of clearing each week. I mean, why not? Just in case you have missed your personal weekly spiritual hygiene, which we should all be doing, right? So I'm going to go ahead and clear a bit. So if you feel anything, don't worry, that's just us. See, I'm struggling to even talk because there's so much energy here. So we're just going to let it come up and out. Okay, let me take a sip here while I do that. Thank you, guys. Also, as we clear, I'm going to go ahead and ground you guys a little bit, myself included, ground all of us. And it's so interesting because look at this cute little card. I haven't even shuffled anything, but it's always, these cards always come to help. Look at this. Just know that anytime you connect to my energy, and we're doing these energies here, just know that the space and slash the container has already been, oh, thank you, has already been created out of love for you guys in alignment with the angels, higher angels, and of course with the Most High. And when I say the Most High, we're talking about the highest frequency of source of God, right? So we're not talking about low energies. I just said thank you because as I was talking, the guides were like, oh, we're sealed, which is great. So the container has already been created for us and sealed and all of that with love. And as always, uh, if you follow my channel, and even if you just tune in for the one off, just know that you're part of the collective that I read for. And so I always ask for messages to come through for you, energetically speaking. So even though I use the word collective, just like you may hear that often, it doesn't just mean everybody, because we're not out here wasting that type of focus. So it's all about those who have the potential energetically to align with the frequencies that I bring through, that come through me, right? And if you've tuned in, then it's for you. And God bless you. So always remember to drink water as well, because we are working with energies. And I always set the intention for uh, energetic work, healing frequencies to be done through me for you guys anyway, even as I bring through information. Now, I also wanted to welcome this lovely ant. God bless. Have you seen him? He's hanging out. He's doing his thing. He's showing off a bit since you guys are here, but every now and then there's one of them. So we have a lovely little ant enjoying the festivities and this lovely cup of tea. If you haven't gone to get yours, please go ahead and do yours. And boop, there's a tea bag in there. So if you're wondering. All right. Also, if you'd like to go ahead and book your session before the end of the year, now is the time to go ahead and do that. Remember that we do offer payment plans. Yay! Boop, boop, boop. And also, if you'd like to book sessions for next year, go ahead and do that. Remember, you can always book and you can always indicate when you would like your session to be done. It never runs out. Okay. All right. So let's jump right in. All right. Are we grounded? Yes. Are we sealed? Yes. All right. Perfect. Good. Okay. I just checked. Good. Good. Looking good. All right, so the first message that I have coming through for some of you guys, because we always make room for personal messages as well, is for somebody here, or at least some of you. Yeah, they're saying some specifically. Tax season is coming through, they're saying, and for some of you who may be worried about tax season, they're giving me the image of a wolf, number one. So there's symbolism is there for somebody here. Number two, they're saying that some of you may be, oh, thank you. some of you may be actually listening to some poor advice, right? So they're saying okay, thank you. They're saying that if you have been taking in poor advice from what they would say is a wolf in sheep clothing, for example, I'm seeing my left ear ring a little here or go deaf a little bit here. They're saying that they've put a stop to that so you can relax and not worry about taking in bad advice. And if somehow they're saying some bad advice comes in or bad mojo, or they're saying they're laughing a bit, whatever word we would use, they're saying it would be null and void because it has no bearing, no effect in your life. So in a very practical way, let's say if you're working with tax advice or something and you're worried that someone's giving you bad advice, don't worry, it's not going to affect you. Spirit is saying that, and I love this. I love this. They're saying that is they're saying that is what we call and they're doing this mantle of protection, which I love. You know, me with I have a Chiron and Taurus in case anyone in case anyone cared. And for me, and I have a Taurus moon. So for me personally, and for a lot of you guys as well, I know I can feel it, otherwise it wouldn't come through this reading. Safety is a huge concern on all levels, right? So if I'm feeling happy about this message, then you should be too. All right, shout out to our Taurus energies. Anyway, so thank you, God. They're saying let's get started. All right. Oh, wow. All right. If you've been following this channel, then you may well know that, like I told you, November was coming through. Too much come through. And it was taking us very, 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 very much deeply into the depths, into the abyss, which is, and comparatively speaking with other years, this year's November season, Scorpionic season, was very, very deep. And I told you guys, if you remember, thank you, I told you that heading into Sagittarius season, the first 2 weeks, which should usually be more optimistic, a lot more lighthearted, a lot more sunlight, a lot more energy like that, it was going to be dampened. Now I am happy to report that it's feeling right now, as I feel into the energy, like we're starting to come topside now. So you may be starting to feel a lot more relief as I'm seeing these cards. Look at the energy in the back of these cards already. They're saying that imagine coming up from the ocean. Look at all this water coming up from the ocean, and you've got the heart of the sea. Remember, shout out Titanic, right? But I don't know why we're shouting out Titanic, but the heart of the ocean was the necklace, right? But they're saying that whatever it is that you were deep diving for the past month, for the past month in particular, past couple of weeks in particular, they're saying you've gotten it. And they're saying not only have you gotten it, but if we're running with this idea of deep sea diving, retrieving something from the depths of your psyche and then resurfacing, we would say that you're already on land now. Now it's interesting because earlier I had hit this card at the top by mistake, and I was like, okay, and I felt they wanted me to start with this deck, and instead I pulled these three. Now I see why they wanted me to go over here, because look, you're on the shore. And they're saying also that, see how in this Four of Cups, why did that word come out? But anyway, look at this Page of Cups. Four of Cups is the no thank you card, by the way. It's the discontent card, right? But instead, I'm seeing Page of Cups here. They're saying with this Page of Cups, where we see this page here and this fish as if it were in this chalice that he's holding, it's jumping back into the water. But actually, if we look closely with the nuance, what we're seeing is actually, as you hear this budding magician, this person who's now being asked, or almost that's told, but asked to step into service, take action, get active in your life. We're emerging now from what was rest time, right? So we're emerging now, and you're being asked to get active, right? Now, the thing that the nuance here is, as you start to get active, what they want you to release is this fear of where you just were. Now, sure, the past month has been such a deep dive. You can liken yourself to having a little bit of PTSD kind of hanging around, a little fear factor still hanging around because of where you just were within your own depths. But Spirit is saying that should not get in the way of your ability to start doing what? Three of Pentacles, getting started, taking action, collaborating. And I want to show you here that in this card, and I do acknowledge that there's a card underneath this page of cups that is trying to, wants to come through. We'll see what that energy is like and whether we want to let it through or if it's just part of the past. But what first I want to show you this Three of Pentacles, where this person is ripe for action. So look at him. He's already garbed up. He's getting ready to leave. But what is he doing? He's paying attention to something here that has already been worked, has already been done. Now, I love what he's seeing. He's seeing an image that has already been done, but the image isn't of him resting on his laurels or taking a time out or, anything like that. What he's seeing is himself being active and reaping. So now is the time for you to start building upon the image of where you see yourself. Are you seeing yourself as struggling and still in the past, as lost in your psyche? Are you seeing yourself in mid-swing of the hammer, chiseling, still working? Or are you choosing to see yourself, notice the word choosing came in, or are you choosing to see yourself in the end? In other words, seeing yourself as you are in your highest projection. Remember, we live in a universe that only recognizes what you say and what you believe you are. So it's so subtle a difference that if you say, oh, I'm working on becoming, the universe does this. That's a snapshot. It just took a quick Polaroid of you, and you're mid swing because that's what you said. I'm in the process of becoming. I'm trying to become. That's what they're going to give you more of. But if you start saying, oh, I am what? I am an elite business owner who does what? Services up to 600 people in my region doing A, B, C, D, and E and effecting joy, pleasure, and abundance for them as well as myself, right? That, what is the universe going to do? It's going to take a picture and it's going to send you energetic frequencies that vibrate with that, right? Because all you're doing is when you say your I am, when you believe your I am, you are emitting. It's just a vibration thing. And every time you switch that and you go low or you go high or low or high, low, high, what you're doing is changing your vibration, vibration, vibration. But because we're on this earth, you can't just, say I am, hit the vibration and receive. That's for when you're beyond time and space, where there is no time and there's no space, and immediately you are. Down here, you are what you say and you believe yourself to be. But guess what? You also have to have the extra added momentum behind it, right? So on the one day and for however long you're able to hold the vibration of a healthy I am, where you're living in the end, where you are affirming what it is that you would love to be, you affirm it and you say, I am this already. And you really beat that drum. The reason why you have to keep beating that drum in everything you think and you feel and you see and you choose and you all of this, along with active denial of anything that is out of alignment with that I am. The reason why you have to do that is because you also have to build momentum. And a lot of times people are saying what they are, they're doing their best, they're blah, blah, blah. However, they're not doing it sincerely enough, with enough consistency, with enough strength to build the momentum. And Spirit is saying all you need is a little bit of willingness. It goes a long way, right? And the whole faith of a mustard seed is enough to move mountains, but you've got to really beat that drum, right? So look at this man. He's pausing. Okay, he's taking an action. He's pausing before he heads out. He's already dressed to go, but before he heads out, he pauses to do what? To look at something. What's he looking at? An image. Is it of now? No, it's of another time, because it's already created. What is it? What is he choosing to project onto that? Is he choosing to see somebody taking out the trash, somebody laboring day after day, somebody filling, or harvesting for somebody else? What is he choosing to see there? Or is he choosing to see himself carrying the harvest from his own field to go and share with other people, including himself. What is he seeing there? Whatever he thinks he's seeing there, all he's doing is programming his now moment. And the universe is like taking pictures. And those pictures, that programming of the now moment, which is in a non physical, right, is what he will experience in his future, provided that he continues to beat the drum of that. So if somebody comes up to him and says, "Hey, what are you looking at?" And he's like, "Oh, blah blah blah," and they're like, "Oh, that was actually made by so and so, and it shows slavery and this and that, and this young kid actually perished and whatever." This man may hear that story that is being told about how this image or this sculpture came to be, but his job is not to focus on that. That's all past tales about past events, in other words, stuff that has nothing to do with him. All he's doing is using this sculpture to reflect back to him the mindset that he chooses, hopefully consciously, he chooses to use to program his now moment, which will lead to what it is for him to experience later on. Now, whether he wants to call it reason or facts or this and that, and listen to the history books and listen to the that and that, that's his thing. But he just as oh, okay, I just said somebody's name. Okay, if you heard your name there, okay, you come see me. Okay. Anyway, but he just as well uh, I forgot what I was saying, but anyway, what I want to say is if he's in his state of mastery, he realizes that it doesn't matter what he's looking at, whether it's this sculpture or this a beam, pillar, or whatever. If he closes his eyes and sees nothing, he knows all these things are meaningless. They have no meaning, no use, no anything except for what he projects. So if he wants to spend his present moment choosing to delve and dabble into projecting negative ideas and telling himself certain things to effect certain mindset, it's his thing. But at the end of the day, mastery reminds you you're only ever getting what you believe to be true. So you have to work on that I am statement. All right. If you'd like to continue on and you're watching on Instagram, come find me on YouTube for the rest of this video. Bye. Okie dokie pokes. So welcome back. Nobody left. Right. I was here like 2 seconds ago. Anyway, so back to what we were saying. Yeah, so long story short, the message that's coming through for this week so far is a reminder to be masterful. Now we're working towards mastery. That's why you're here on Earth. Earth is not a school for the little ones, okay? The little ones. Earth is a school where we come to master our mind, pretty much, right? And so you were just delving deeply into your own psychology, whether you are aware of it or not, and not just you, everybody on this planet, whether they're aware of it or not, they are beholden to the cycles of the earth. So if Scorpionic season says, hey, this year we're going to hand you a little something, we're all getting handed something. But now we're back on the shore, and now it's time to get into action. And the mastery for you right now is to remember you're not where you think wherever you think you are now, you're not where you just were. You're in a whole new here and now. And the question is how well you could remember that everything you see around you is meaningless. You think it has meaning because of the stories and the histories and the purposes and the functions and all this that mankind and even mankind's accounts of God and all of that, it's all coming through mankind. So we got to be aware, right? And most times you just have to disregard. But everything around you, the meaning is only given by man. Yes, even our books. And you know what books I'm talking about. Okay, whatever book came to your mind, it came through the hands of, right? So if you've ever played telephone, you know what's up. So the point that I'm trying to make is that now is the time to understand that you have always been the master of your own soul's trajectory. You may feel that you're beholden to things because of the way you've been programmed. And in fact, taking these lifetimes, these different lifetimes, one of the major goals is to deprogram from all that stuff. That's why we understand the spiritual journey as a return to what? Self. It's another lovely way of saying a return to source. It's another way of saying a return to higher consciousness. It's another way of saying returning to your wisdom. It's another way of saying returning to RM. What's RM? Right mindedness. It's returning to truth, returning to light, returning to awareness, returning to understanding, returning to knowledge, right? All of this is just about waking up to what you are and not what you've been told you are. And this is spanning multiple lifetimes. So if you're watching this video, you're definitely not a beginner soul, so to speak. And it's definitely not your new times. You're not a spring chicken on this planet. And in fact, if you're watching this video and you're still here, hi, hello. Hopefully you got a hot beverage. But you've also taken on the promise to be of spiritual service. Now, everybody can do that. Anybody can do that. Because when you understand really what God is, which is love, which is truth, which is everything I just told you, right? Abundance, providence, everything, then you understand there's no prohibition. Because, and I'm not talking about alcohol stuff, I'm talking about there is no prohibiting all these rules and stuff. Those rules and stuff are made for whether the commandments, the warding away from the vices, all those things, the vices, oh, devices, okay. Um, all of those things are rules and laws and stuff for what? This realm. You have to understand that when you are vibrating at your true vibratory rate, unsullied, undistorted, unadulterated, untainted, whatever you want to say, when you're in your true identity, what did we say last week? We said, what is it like? It's like the lamb. It's like the dove. It's so subtle. It's such a subtle energy. It's subtle innocence. That's all it is. That's what your truth is. And so you may say, but that's not true because blah, blah, blah. Well, instead of looking at what you see the world to be right now and what you're being and all of this and the thoughts that you think that you're ashamed of, instead of using that as evidence for why you're not as God created you, which I'm telling you how God created you, but if you're doubting that, please understand that that's just your programming talking. That's why we're here to heal the mind so that you can hear it once again, recognize and believe what you truly are. If somebody's rolling around in the mud, right? If someone's rolling around in the mud and they come into this house and someone says, "Oh, hey, you're actually very clean and you blah 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 blah," you're going to be like, what are you talking about? Look at all this mud around me. I've just been trudging down here for, well, let's just say lifetimes, right? And all sorts of things, or however long you say. It would be a really hard sell to convince you otherwise. But that's why people come back lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, so that they can once again recognize what they are. Imagine living in a world where people are like, oh, you just have to go have a shower, and someone's doubting, like, what are you talking about? Go have a shower. Yes, you're just covered in mud. No, this is not mud, you know? So it's like lifetimes are here to help you, and your soul's curriculum is here to help deprogram you so that you can once again recognize the truth. And that's why you'll notice that as we continue to spiritually mature, it is a process of releasing. That's why you're always releasing and healing. But what is healing? Healing has nothing to do with the body. It is merely the changing of your perceptions. The only thing that you're healing is the mindset, healing your perceptions, right? And a lot of people may not believe that because they've been programmed to think completely the opposite. And if you don't believe me and you live in the States, well, what's happening to, for example, teachers and nurses? We're in the upside down world, right? This is everything down here is inverted. And so you have to understand that even basic things that we're trying to learn about going inward and seeing yourself as your inner authority and your direct connection to source, that sounds ridiculous to people. That's because we've been programmed to believe that down here. Okay. And a lot of people struggle to believe that, but I'll tell you this. I mean, if you've ever traveled, anybody who's lived abroad, try living in a whole different city, even a whole different culture, even all of that, and see how long it takes you to start to have a shift in the way you think, the way you act, the way you feel, right? It doesn't take that long. Try joining an institution like the military or something like that, and going to any boot camps, even if it's just a school, going to a school and going through one of their orientations and stuff. See how long it takes you to shift your mind, especially when you start to get incentivized, gifts, perks, social license, all sorts of stuff. See how long it takes you to change what you think about yourself and how you see yourself in relation to other people, right? You have to understand the human mind is very, very impressionable, very impressionable. And that's why when we talk about mastery, it's not that, and even when we talk about things like chosen, everyone says, oh, everyone's chosen this and that, and some people are better. Like, that's all ego. You're only chosen because you chose to volunteer to help. And even if you're on earth and you're like, God, how could I help? It could be something as simple as picking up litter, all sorts of stuff, right? It's the heart of service that spirit is looking for. But the reason why a lot of these, like deep schools and mystery schools and all of this, one of the reasons why a lot of that information about a lot of the information about who and what you are has been hidden for so long is because what a lot of people lack is discipline, discipline of the mind, right? This doesn't mean that you have to, and for a lot of you listening, you've been through this in multiple lifetimes. In this lifetime, if you're watching this video, chances are you're not here to, as a beginner, to learn how to know. You're here because you've mastered a lot of things. You've gotten to a certain level where you can sit down and you can feel into certain things, you can discern, right? And so if you are trying to serve spirit in very dense spaces and stuff, and I don't know how to explain dense, but let's just, I guess, dense, very dense places, then you understand that you have to have a certain amount of discipline in your life. And this has nothing to do with, I mean, yes, of course, it can be told by putting your shoes a certain way, but no, it's more about your mindset. And it is about faith, but I'm not talking about blind faith and blind obedience as a lot of these religious doctrines would have you believe, because a lot of those, just any philosophies on earth, even a lot of these mystery schools, all that, a lot of them have been tainted over time because, people people are all over, but most people don't have the discipline that they need. Discipline simply looks like, and simply, oh my God, it's not simple, but it simply looks like understanding that you may not believe what you are, that innocent lamb like subtle energy, like I told you. You, especially if you've taken on spiritual service that comes with a certain idea of your function. Some of you may say, oh, I'm a spiritual warrior and I'm a this and that. And that may be a function, a role that you're playing, but understand that what's going on inside of you is what you're working to protect, right? It's that child of God within, the child of God, the innocence, the inner child, the lamb-like energy, that God within is within everybody, right? And so when we come here and we come to be of spiritual service, we are coming to create the conditions for that frequency that lives within all humanity, right? And that may have been uh, really compromised. Not compromised in the sense like something happened to that frequency. It's just a matter of, can it be expressed to the person, right? So we understand that everyone carries a God within, But most people may not be aware of that because they're still seeking their spiritual stuff from outside of them. They're still seeking approval, all sorts of stuff from outside of them. They're still trying to fill voids and wounds that they are still carrying. That a lot of times people are so busy still acting out of trauma that they may or may not even realize that they haven't even really been able to slip into the frequency that their soul wanted them to be in order to do certain functions in spiritual service. Now, there's always a function for everybody. In other words, there's always a role for everybody. We can always do something. But remember, it's all about frequency. And so when we talk about people who keep the flame, keepers of the flame, people who hold the flame, maintain the frequency, frequency holders, all this stuff, it's a very tough job because it means that whatever life you found yourself in, whatever family you found yourself in, and a lot of people who have spiritual service end up coming into really dense families. If they're able to make it out of those situations, then they have to connect to that part of them, whether they're aware that they're doing it or not. They have to connect to that part of them that tells them there's service here. There's something, there's a calling for them. There's something they are meant to do. There's something inside of them wants to get done. So they have to answer the call. They have to hear the call and then they have to answer the call. And then on top of that, and these calls and these are all frequencies. So we're talking about alignment. So sometimes people are so deeply entrenched, whether it's their trauma, their unhealed habits, the company that they keep, maybe their life is bogged down because of all the obligations, all sorts of stuff. But if at any point you're able to even get a wisp of that call, that passion, that dream, that what if, that's receptivity. And then you have to find a way to answer it. And then you have to find a way to create the space in your life. That means getting rid of certain influences, certain frequencies, and whether those are people, places, things, situations, ideas, all sorts of stuff. But the really hard part for a lot of people is changing the mindset so that the mindset can support that frequency. If you're of a mindset where you are seeing yourself constantly as low value, having nothing to offer, if you are struggling with vices, right? You know the vices. What were they? The seven of them: wrath, gluttony, vanity. Uh, I know some of you are like screaming it at the envy. What are the other ones? Um, I just said it 2 days ago. What were the other ones? Anyway, all seven of them. But now my mind's like, no, I need to I need to list these vices. Okay, let's list them together. Um, Pride, wrath. I keep forgetting wrath. That's why I started with wrath before. Pride, wrath, vanity, gluttony, avarice, envy. What's the other one? There's another one. Um, anyway, I'm sure some of you may be screaming it. What is the other one? Anyway, whatever. These are, and this is not to sound religious, because if you're on this channel, we're not about that. We're about the frequencies going top down, the energy, the channelings, the information coming through the information, and then noticing that, yeah, it may trigger certain programming in our mind, but that's not what we're trying to say. We're trying to just list these frequencies, and that seventh one that I know will come to me as soon as I turn this off. Those are examples of things that will corrupt the mindset that you need, right? So we have to be careful, right? Those temptations, oh, lust. That's the seventh one, right? So this is not a conversation again about religion. This is universally looking at things that will hijack your divine consciousness, because I guess we're talking about divine consciousness here. You don't want to continue to have a life or allow a life around you where these energies are allowed to flow through you, right? So this is why many of you across many lifetimes have been working on these vices, right? So on top of, whatever life you plan for yourself and the harsh influences and the families that you may have been born into and the cultures and all of this, these obstacles, your soul wanted to transform things because you've got mastery behind you. But you knew that in order to really get into your work, you've got to catch the frequency. And the frequency, like we said, is a very high one. It's very subtle. It's quiet. It's like a cute little lamb, right? It's just like a cute little lamb. And if you are so bombarded by temptations, like we just talked about, by vices, by even people in your life that are constantly distracting you, shows that you're watching, devices that you're using, social media, all sorts of stuff. Why do you think so many people who are in spiritual service have spent so many lifetimes in certain, weaving in and out in certain religions, and honing themselves, right? Honing themselves to work with these low frequencies so that they can be strong enough to withstand them. You have to identify it, right? Because down here, the thing that human beings don't realize is that we have choice. And this is where that whole angel on one shoulder and devil on the other, or whatever you want to call it, that's all discursive, right? It's all about choice. You are in the driver's seat. You are the one operating the vessel here. It's your mindset that is structuring this world around you that you are experiencing. Remember, your world is different from everybody else's world, right? Because you have your own frequencies, and those frequencies generate a world around you, right? And you've got to choose. And every now moment is a choice. And so it's very important that you choose to see yourself as how you are, because what you are is such a good frequency, such a high frequency, such an organic frequency, such a creation of God, that frequency is what we would call a divine frequency. And you best believe that anytime you really start getting close to seeing yourself and experiencing yourself and choosing that for yourself and denying what is out of alignment with that, you will be faced with things that will come and try to get you off your path. And it comes in all forms: people, places, things, situations, ideas, or form, but they all have the same frequency underneath it. It's just distraction, right? And so when we talk about spirit calling people, everybody is called, but and as I say, not everybody will answer. And if they do answer, then the work is to work on that frequency. And that's why a lot of people have to, all of us, if we really want to work at certain levels with and have access to certain frequencies and information from spirit, you have to be able to match that. If you can't align with that frequency, you're not going to receive the information. And that's a little bit of protection there, right? Because the higher in frequency you go, it's more light. And the more light there is, the more shadow, right? And so spirit is saying that wherever you find yourself, whatever you believe of yourself, up, down, in, out, right, left, understand that whatever it is always going to pale in comparison to what you are. And you serve yourself best when you remember what you are. And until you fully are convinced and remember what you are, which is love, blameless, fully provided for, safe at all times, very, very powerful, all of that, until you fully are convinced of that, then do your best to keep choosing what best serves that part of you, that idea of you, because that's the truth of what you are. You just don't believe it. And that's what the healing journey is. The healing journey is to heal the mindset so that we can once again believe it. A really quick, uh, very quick basic example of that is, well, let's keep it 100. Let's say most of you watching are not millionaires, myself included, right? Holding space for that 1 millionaire watching, right? But let's put it this way. It's possible that a lot of you would say, oh, I would love to have more money. I would love to have, and then whatever you think more money is, like emotional freedom, physical freedom, you know, sleeping at night, whatever it means for you, right? Now, I just heard someone say, providing for my generations. Yes, providing for your generations to come. Whoever you are, I feel the number eight with you. Either you have eight generations already planned coming in for you, or you have eight children. Either way, there's a lot going on there. God bless you. But here's the example. If I were to tell you guys, oh, hey, did you know that you're going to wake up a millionaire? That you're going to become a millionaire next year? A lot of you would be like, no, that's not possible, right? But what about that? And Spirit is like, well, we can't work with that. If you can't even believe in the possibility of that, what are we doing? Because remember, it is possible that you could become a millionaire next year. Just because you don't have the vision doesn't mean it can't happen to you. So you first have to believe something is possible. You have to be able to be in the realm of believing, or even be able to conceive of that thing. And then on top of that, believing it's possible, right? And then on top of that, you have to move into the realm of believing something's probable. And then on top of in all the things that you believe are not only possible, but probable, you have to also convince yourself or be convinced that within that realm of probability, that some are most probable for you. And then within that realm of most probable happening for you, you have to believe in one of those things so much. And even if you don't believe in it consciously, subconsciously, you have to believe in that thing so much that boom, it manifests for you. So look to your left and right. Whatever you see, whoever you see, whatever circumstances, whatever, the broken down car right now, the bills popping out of God knows what, or the lovely husband or wife that you have, or the horrible husband or wife that you have, or just whatever. All of those went through this process of being in this realm of possibility, right? Because all things are possible under God, straight up. Then it was filtered down into what is conceivable, currently conceivable by your human brain, with all your cultural programming, your own personal traumas, your multiple lifetimes of learning, and your soul's trajectory. Then went down into what you think is probable for you. If you already have low self-worth, then I'm just going to tell you that whatever you have subconsciously brought into probability for yourself is much more truncated than what God would have for you, because God's not working at that low self-worth frequency. So you just took things and cut it in half, and now it's even less. And then on top of that, your conscious mind is just adding stuff to it. Oh, I'm such a loser. Look at my bank account. My husband just left, or whatever. So you're just narrowing it, narrowing it. And for those who are very pessimistic and stuff, oh, the chokehold, it's a choke. Why would you expect to be in heaven here on earth when all of that, and what's putting all of that in motion is what? Your mindset. Conscious, subconscious. Know thyself. Just because you can't see and understand why something is occurring for you doesn't mean that there isn't a good reason. So that's why know thyself is important. You have to be responsible to do your shadow work, understand yourself, do your trauma work, look at yourself, observe yourself, check for your hypocrisies, all of those. So going back to that little example, let's say if I told you you're going to be a millionaire next year, if you were just like, yeah, right, I can't see it, of course you're not going to be able to see it, because look at the trajectory and all of that came in. And God forbid you grew up in a family with poverty. If you haven't shaken that off in your mindset, then what are we doing? Right? If you pulled a card that said a little oracle card or whatever that says you are already a millionaire, some of you would be like, whatever. But hey, let's think about that guy. Oh, some of you may even get angry. Like, how dare you say this? Look at my bank account. How dare you say this? Do you know how much I owe in taxes? Do you know it? And then you'll even get angry at the messenger. Listen, don't get mad at me. I'm just bringing through stuff. Okay, don't get mad at me. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. In other words, just because you can't see the reasoning and the way doesn't mean it's not there. It doesn't mean it's not there. The problem is you with your vision and your belief in self and your trust in source and God and what is possible. If you can't even see something as being conceivable yet or possible yet let alone conceivable, right? If you can't even see the possibility in something, what do you think you can do with probability? And how could you even have it for yourself? Okay. Um, think about that guy recently. I'm sure some of you may have heard about that lovely 88-year-old man, God bless his buttons, who's working. It was it at Walmart? I think it was Walmart. And there was an influencer who not his what is this page? It's I think it's Sozy or ITSOZY, I think, but on Instagram. But anyway, he bumps into him and they start talking. Turns out that the old man, he lost his pension and everything a long time ago because his job cut it, and then that means that he also lost his medical insurance and stuff, just as his wife, God bless, was going through cancer. Anyway, she eventually passed, right? And so he's got to work. He's 88. He's still working and will likely continue to work for the rest of his days. But God said, not today. Of course, he didn't know that when he was talking to this young male influencer. And what was it, like in 2 days, they raised like $1.7 million for this man to retire. Now, what if somebody told this man last year, hey man, you're gonna be a millionaire next year? Impossible. And look how God works. That money is coming in for this man, right? God bless him. But I think his brother and his sister-in-law, or it's his sister and his brother-in-law, I don't know, they both have cancer. And so God said, let me elevate everybody here. So did that, not only did that frequency, was it able to flow for everyone involved, but so many people joined and donated, which goes to show you there's no shortage of wealth on this planet. The shortage is in the heart, right? How people allocate their resources. It's all about mindset. So imagine if someone can convince you once again of what you are. Imagine how powerful a frequency you can achieve for yourself or reclaim for yourself, because it's your frequency. But if we continue to see all of this bad food we're eating, the noise pollution, the straight up pollution, the programming everywhere, and we're even just talking in the physical, don't even let us get started in the non-physical astral plane stuff that's going on, because that's a whole nother situation, right? But if you came here to be of service and you're really about it, and you're like, put me in, coach. Yeah, I may fall off the bandwagon left and right, but put me in. Where can I sign up? Spirit is saying you start with frequency. You claim yourself, claim what you are. And claiming what you are every day looks like this: I know what I am. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to have doubts throughout the day, right? But when I start feeling those doubts and experiencing those doubts and all of that, I acknowledge it, but I put my finger up and I remind myself whatever suffers, we talked about this last week, is not part of me, because I am what? That little lamb. I'm just saying lamb because that's a frequency. It feels like Lamb of God, if you want to call it. Of course, I don't want to say that because a lot of you have religious programming and I take you places that we don't need you to be, right? So keeping it here, the frequency is divine innocence. That's what you are. In your truest form, you are divine innocence. And we are all one. But here in this space, we're experiencing fragmentation. And so we think we see Janelle, we think we see that other person, we think we see that other person. No, all of us have God within. But without these bodies and with our true vision, we'll see that we're actually all just one. We all just think we're our own thing. And so much pain has gone on because of the disconnection from the true state of oneness to true state of love and innocence and providence and everything. And because we have lost that memory and been programmed deep, 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 deeply, so deeply, right? We're vibing at an all-time low. So for those who want to serve, and I mean high service, not just regular service, but high service, you've got to elevate your frequency. You remember what you are, and you deny everything else. And that again, simply, and this is one of the things I'm working on right now. This is what my team is training me on. Is so my like I told you, my Chiron wound is in Taurus. So Taurus moon, Chiron in Taurus is the wound of low self-worth. So when I'm out here telling you guys, I'm not just sitting here making stuff up. I'm doing the work. I'm reporting findings to you. And of course, my spirit team trains me. And one of the things that they've got me doing is paying attention to my various emotional states during the day and feelings, whether it's stress, fear, low self-worth, low self-value, apathy, lethargy, all sorts of stuff, wanting to give up, everything. Anytime any of those pop up, or procrastination, all of it, I just, I see it. I may even be swayed by it and succumb to it. My bad, guys. I'm human right now. I'm doing my best, right? But I just do my due diligence and say, oh, I recognize that procrastination. Whatever procrastinates, that's not part of me. So the real me is that frequency I told you about. So if I'm experiencing a frequency outside of what I am, then I realize I've become distracted. Now, I may not have wanted to become distracted. I may not have wanted this frequency of low self-worth and envy and whatever else to flow through me, but it is flowing through me in this moment because I'm feeling it and I recognize it, but I remind myself that's not me. That's not part of me. And so I understand that I have stepped out of alignment. I call it what it is, and I reaffirm what I am. I'm divinely provided for. There's nothing that I lack. That frequency is golden frequency. And when you beat the drum of that, and you keep bringing yourself back to that, and you beat the drum of that over and over and over and over and over and over again, just like how you were beating the drum of all this low stuff to the point that now you believe that it's true, and God's out here like, but wait a minute, right? If you can pull yourself into this proper frequency of what you are and keep bringing yourself back to it and making that your thing, cultivate it, get a tattoo, buy a necklace, write it, post it, whatever you want to do, reinforce it. You will start to see the frequency shift because the universe must return to you. Forms, people, places, things, situations, idea, forms. It must organize the matter around you to align with what you say you are. And if you keep saying what you are and you keep bringing yourself back, you make that your baseline. And trust me, over time, watch things change for you because you've got to have the idea, the self-concept, then you've got to put the consistency behind it and the sincerity. And this is not about beating yourself up every time you fall off the bandwagon or you go left or you go right or whatever. No, because that's where you are. You hear, you do that, it happens, but you bring yourself back. Just like a sweet little child when you're doing, if you decide to discipline using what is it, the corner method, where you take your cute little child boop, and you put them in the corner. You say, no, you can time out. That's it, the timeout method. right? Of course, they're going to get up and try to walk away. No, you just keep bringing them back. And it's not about escalating yourself into anger and be like, well, how dare you sit back, boom, sit that. No, not about that. It's just you just keep bringing them back. What's going to happen? Eventually, they're going to realize, oh, shoot, every time I try to do blah, 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 I'm hitting a wall here. I got to come back. So it's soon I'm going to realize this is my baseline. And if I really want to get out of this corner, just sit down and serve my time or do whatever it is. And then boom, it's discipline, right? And notice what I'm telling you here is not asking you to light 10 million candles. It's not asking you to bury anything under the full moon. Everything that, I don't know, what are people doing these days, right? But everything that you were born with, which is just your beautiful consciousness and your lovely body, whatever form it took, stark naked is what you need. Because it's not about anything, it's about your mindset. So get to work with the cognitive tools here, right? Now, it's funny because as I'm telling you guys this, part of my conscious mind's like, why am I going on so about? Is anyone still here? Hello, hello. And then, my conscious mind always questioning. And then at the same time, I know what I'm saying because I'm channeling this through. And now I'm also feeling a third energy stepping in, a third aspect. I don't know what to say. Awareness. Thank you. And Spirit is saying that as I have been telling you guys this, they've been watching to see who on this call is capable of answering whatever call they're recruiting for. Now, I don't want to say the R word recruiting because people have already signed up for things before they got in here. It's people meaning you and whoever else in the world, whether they ever watch a video or not, right? People are doing stuff whether they would consider themselves spiritual or not. Maybe they're just loading boxes somewhere, right? But it doesn't mean they didn't come in with their plans and that they're not doing it to a T. But Spirit is watching to see who, number one, has enough willingness here, now that we're here, boots on the ground, who has enough willingness to meet these frequencies. And they're citing a lot of weariness, which I get, right? So if you're feeling weary, again, run it through the system. The system of weary, like I said, the system is I know what I am. What I am cannot be weary because I am part of God. I'm made in his image. The only difference is that I didn't make myself, right? And so if God, this is what you can say, if God can't be weary, then I can't be weary. So if I'm experiencing weariness, then this weariness is not part of me. It's a byproduct of some beliefs that I'm thinking that leads to me feeling this way. Oh, I'm feeling apathetic. Oh, I get it. And I can list 10 million reasons, doesn't matter. That apathy is not part of me. I'm experiencing it, but it's not part of me. It's here because of programming that I carry. Plain and simple, I know what I am. God can't be tired, so I can't be tired. Done. Oh, I'm angry. Oh, I'm feeling the anger. I'm experiencing the anger. Why? Because I have a mindset that I'm carrying, programming that I'm carrying, but I'm doing my best to heal this lifetime after lifetime, working with spirit to work through all this programming. But I know that that's not part of me. And so I'm going to bring myself back here because God can't be angry, so I can't be angry. And if somebody out here just said God can be angry, I would invite you to take a step back and reflect a little bit further on that. Okay? Anger comes from distortion. All of that stuff is from these lower frequencies. The higher up in frequency you go, these frequencies, anger, all those vices I told you about, distraught, despair, those things do not exist at the higher frequencies. They cannot. If you're in a room of high spirited people, everybody's having a good time, and you come in with your anger and stuff, try and see if you can turn that room, or if you will storm off, or if they can turn you and make you laugh at yourself, right? There are people who have the proposal, the guides are saying, to hold certain frequencies. but you still have to get up and out. You still have to get started on that, right? And so if you're struggling with that, of course, you can come see me. We can work it out. Just book an intuitive counseling session. Or, like I said, for free 99, everybody can sit down, really try to work with their spirit team, really start to journal, do some reflecting, right? So anyway, look at that. I split the deck and what did I get? Eight of Pentacles. What is this? This is the work card, collaboration and work card, right? So now's the time to work. So Spirit has been giving certain ideas along the way. We've been, yeah, and I just heard tripping you up. But look what's next. Remember, I said this card wanted to come in? Tripping you up. What's been tripping you up? Grief. So look at these feet. What is this? Feet and feet. Grief has been tripping a lot of people up. If you've been holding on to grief, understandable. But what we've just identified something, grief. Your first question is grief part of me? No, it's not. Why? Because if God can't grieve, then I can't grieve. The I that I truly am cannot grieve. So if I am what God created, which is something that cannot grieve, then who it is? Ego. Okay. That's the side of you that you're healing. So you're in the process of releasing. So the message for today is a very long-winded one. I get it, but it is one that had to come through. The message here is for some of you to realize that part of being able to service, to be in service to really, really high frequencies, right? When you're able to align with really, really high frequencies, you're able to receive high messages. In fact, if you want to keep messages out of the hands of low frequencies and stuff, you have to be at a high frequency because lower frequencies cannot penetrate high frequencies that are very high. That's why when we say things like, or when it's been said, like the Lamb, what is it, Lamb of God, or like these really innocent, pure driven innocence, that they are protected because they don't have an inroad, right? Now, a lot of you may start to look in the world and say, but what about those 6-year-olds dying here and the 2-year-olds? And remember, those are adult souls, just like us, who've come in with their soul curriculum. You don't know what they're learning. You don't know what that soul's got going on. You don't know what a lot of others have going on, right? But I don't know if you guys could feel it, but spirit just like I just feel like this huge ball of light, gold light, just shoot out. So here's my question. Did you feel that? Okay. If you are still watching this video, then you've been called and invited to be here and to receive, right? And if you felt that even more, right, then you felt it. Look at this, the Hierophant. So if it's something that interests you, Spirit is saying that wherever you are right now, you've got to let go of the grief. You've got to let go of the false beliefs about yourself. And this doesn't mean that, wow, tomorrow you've got to be Superman. And no, it means that this week, try to really put that action, that cognitive tool that I gave you in place. Remember, there's what you are, and then there's what you've been bogged down with, all nicely wrapped together here in this vessel that you call your personality, right? No, but there's only one of those. You're not the victim. You cannot be a victim because that's not what you are. Anytime you are in victim mode, angry, sad, guilty, feeling ashamed, any of the other vices, envy, pride, proud, all those stuff, you're caught up in a wave, a frequency, programming, whatever you want to call it, that has taken you out of alignment. How did it take you out of alignment? It convinced you somewhere. All these experiences you've been having have convinced you that you are those things and that you can feel those things. But the reality is that's not what you are. So this lifetime is one where you want to continue to cultivate. Yes, I'm experiencing these things because I hold beliefs that need to be healed. Continue to work on healing those core beliefs, right? But every day and with every time you feel that emotion, you experience it, whatever, those thoughts, whatever, you remind yourself, but that's not part of me. It's a byproduct. Okay, that's all it is. It's a byproduct of the unhealthy beliefs that I'm healing in this lifetime. You got trauma, you're going to have byproducts. You were raised in certain cultures or any culture that teaches hate or teaches you to hate yourself, teaches division, all of that. You got byproducts here. So whatever it is, you remember that's not you, period. So that's your work this week. In other words, every day to whatever comes up for you, acknowledge it. Continue to work on yourself, but straight up pull yourself up by the boots, and you remind yourself, yeah, but that ain't me though. And even if I don't believe that it's not me, I'm going to affirm it because God can't have those feelings, then I can't have those feelings. And if you struggle to understand or really get a glimpse of this frequency of what you are, you ask spirit to show it to you, to send it to you. And remember, it's such a subtle energy. You're carrying it, but you can't even feel it until you can tune into it and really isolate it. So when you ask spirit to show you this, so you can trust it and so you can believe that your girl Jay is not out here just trying to dupe you, right? Then create the conditions for it. Let spirit know, okay, you got a week. You got a week. So come through, spirit, and show me this frequency. And whatever can move you to tears because of the beauty of it, whether it's a newborn baby popping out, whether it's the sight of a deeply luscious sunset or just a quiet moment, it's going to be quiet, right? Think about something so beautiful, and the word Christed is coming up. Again, this has nothing to do with religion. I know some of your ears are perking up because you have religious programming. These are energies that were in play before this earth even came into being. So please, please do yourself a favor. So when we talk about this Christed energy, it's so gentle. It really is just your purest form. It's pure sacredity. It's sacred. That's what you are. That's what we would call the spark of the divine, the fragment of God. But the Christ itself is all of us as God made us, creation in our state of oneness, which we still are, but we don't remember that. Remember, we've been convinced that it could be anything other than that. And so we're so lost in that false belief of in separation that we are in bodies. It's such a dense frequency. It's a long way down in frequency. And here we are. And now we're trying to convince people of what they were or what they are. You have to show them you're not what you think you are. You're actually this. And I know you won't get it for another couple lifetimes, some of you, right? But trust me on this, and just bide your time, do your best every day to bring yourself back to loving yourself and believing it, right? And so that's why Spirit is saying when they call people, they're calling souls that can suspend this negative programming, this false programming. As I just said that, I felt them pull out a lot of cords. Some of you may have felt it in the sacral, thank you, the sacral energy, sacral space, all that. They're helping you to deprogramming the heart as well and other spaces. So if you're feeling anything in the body, that's us giving you the mental support and energetic support as well to disconnect. And as they're doing that, suddenly I'm feeling that a lot of you may start to be like, oh, I am one of these people who can do this. Whereas before, as I'm like sitting here trying to convince you guys, right? I'm feeling some of you may be like, oh, I don't know, right? But now, as we remove some of these things and help with the correction in your perceptions, now you realize, oh, I am one of these people. I can be one of these people that can hold this frequency, that can do this, right? Some of you are being called for service to work in areas of the world, energetically and physically, right? In areas of the world where your specialties are needed. You may not even know consciously what your specialties are, right? But remember, you are a multidimensional being. And so you have access to skills at different levels of your consciousness. You exist as a creation of God, you exist at all levels of creation. But those who have expanded awareness enough, they can actually work consciously with these different levels of themselves. And that means you have more access to freedom, is what the guides are saying. Yeah, there is privilege that comes with these positions, they're saying. There's wisdom that you can call in. Now, remember, it's all about frequency. It's not but nobody is better than anybody else. It's always comes back to, can you hold the frequency? If you can hold the frequency, let's work together. But if you can't hold the frequency, then it's not that they're saying, oh, you can't do it. It's just they're saying, hey, we're giving it to you, but you can't receive it because your frequency is too low. So we've got to help you shift this. Spirit is never going to take your abilities away or tell you you can't do this or tell. It's you needing to tend your energetic vessel and your mindset. The mindset directs the energetic vessel. The energetic vessel directs the physical body. The energetic vessel directs, you know, the physicality. So really, it's the mind that leads to the quality and the structure and everything of not only the physical body, but the world around you that you experience. So if you're here to suit up for God, and I'm not talking about these God frequencies at lower frequencies of the field, I'm talking high frequency, where you literally have to really do this self connection work, right? So that you can reach higher frequencies. Because if spirit is wanting you to work and to reach a lot of souls, but spirit can't trust you to handle the money, the amount of money that spirit wants to flow through you, if spirit can't trust you to handle the policies and the decision making that spirit wants to flow through you to other people, they want to position you, in certain places that may be dark places, meaning you may be working with co-workers, teams, you may be marrying into families, all sorts of stuff where people are completely out of their mind, meaning they're so out of their right mindedness, they're well into the dark. They're mishandling things, they're mishandling people. If spirit knows that you will be, unable to hold your frequency in these spaces, then it won't be very fruitful, right? And so this is why we also have what we can call spiritual tests. And again, that may trigger some of you to have certain ideas like, oh, spiritual test, oh, right? It doesn't have to be any mystery school thing, religious school thing, and spiritual warrior thing. All that is too much. Keep it simple. It's just an assessment. Can you hold a frequency or not? If we send you that $20 and we give you the nudge to give it away, can you do that? If you probably can't do it with $20, can you do it with 1,000,000? Right? Can we send you, can we let you be the one to find that lost wallet of somebody's 6 months rent that they were saving to help, their family member, whatever. But here you are finding it somewhere in the field and no one's around. Can we trust you to do the right thing? And yeah, or will you just pocket it? Well, you know what it gets when it gets really tricky when you're like, oh my God, I've got how interesting. I have 6 months rent that's due or something like that. Who has 6 months rent that's due? You know what I mean? Ahead of time, right? I have 6 months rent that's due. Maybe this was a gift from God. Maybe I'll just take it home. And I don't know. You got to make that decision, right? Because who doesn't have 6 months rent? I don't know, right? So you see, when Spirit says we're calling people, understand that yes, Spirit can work through anybody, anywhere, but there are certain assignments that we want to have high frequency beings in. They may not look like they're high frequency beings, but they have the merit, they have the qualities intact, right? When you have lots of clients, are they well served? If you have only one client, are they well served? When you had to work late for the group while everyone else was partying, and how'd you do? Did you curse everyone's name? Did you, right? Now, this isn't a call for us to feel ashamed or anything. No, because if you're on this call, you already know that you've been called and you've already been vetted. You've already been invited. You're here. Spirit is training. This is training. And so the question is, do you know what your pitfalls are? Are you lost anywhere? Do you struggle with spiritual significance? Are you lost in titles? Are you struggling with apathy, lethargy? Do you identify any of the vices in your in as one as your weaknesses and stuff of your personality? In order to be on this planet, you have look at this Ace of Swords. You saw I just tried to come out. We see you, Ace of Swords. Ooh, yes, Queen of Pentacles. See, Ace of Swords. God's well, Source is talking. Somebody's talking out here. Whoever is here with us, right? So Spirit is saying it's time to get busy. But a lot of times people think getting busy is about starting that organization or doing that big thing, when actually it's really about getting into yourself. Self is the only thing there is. And when you vibrate at the high frequencies that Spirit is trying to work with you, if you're on this call, Spirit is trying to work with you at a high frequency. And that requires you to understand that you are one self. You and Janelle are one self. Hi. Hey guys. I'm like, told you. I'm just kidding. You're one self. But you think that you are different bodies, this and that. So start to shift your perception. We are one self. We are fragments of one self. But some fragments are lost in the sauce. They need help to get their minds right again. And so if you can hold the frequency of what you are, that is a sense of right-mindedness. And that is the level of what Spirit wants to have in your spiritual resume, I guess, for whatever jobs they are recruiting for right now. And for somebody here, this feels like some type of medical office that you will be planted in. You may not be, I don't know what you'll be doing, whether it's handling medical records, maybe it'll be serving coffee. I don't know. What do people do? I don't know. You could be a practitioner of some sort, but your presence is needed there. And when we understand presence, we understand that, yes, hey, can you get this copy for me? Hey, can you do this? But that's not what it's about. It's about what's going on in the non-physical, where you can really see energetically the ties, the things that are going on. So Spirit wants people who can come into spaces and manage them. Now, you may be the lowest person in that office, but you're there to manage, right? Story time. This is going to be a long video if you haven't noticed, but you don't have to stick around if you don't want to. But story time. Let me see if I can tell the story. I think I can. I think I've told this story. An old friend of mine, I had given her a reading many years ago, back I think 2020 or 2021. Anyway, an old friend of mine, and she was working in an office, a government office, doing whatever their contract works or whatever. And she had noticed something in the paperwork, and she, totally innocent, like she's so sweet, doesn't even, and she's just like, oh, hey, I noticed so and so, because she had just started working there, so and so, these numbers, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, long story short, apparently, just like any good movie, she might have brought something, stumbled upon something, and questioned something she shouldn't have. But anyway, the job didn't work out. We'll leave it at that. But when I was uh, doing her reading for her, I realized, oh, hey, you are, sorry, let me just check, make sure I can tell this. Okay. Yeah, I saw her. She's a dragon energy. So down here, very unsuspecting, people would pass by her on the street. Oh, she's nobody. She's plain Jane, unmarried. She's nobody. She's whatever. She's a little intern, whatever, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But actually, and I'm tipping my glasses, looking over my glasses to look at you guys, you don't want to play with her, because she was definitely a dragon. And her job was to come into that institution and assess. And things were not being done in the light. Let's just leave it at that. So it was, she, for lack of a better word, she was law enforcement. Okay. So that's what she came in there to do. But down here in the physical, she just got bumped around in a job. She was very hurt after that situation, was angry for quite some time, of course, because if you're mistreated on the job and stuff, but that's why they say you never know, be mindful, because you may be entertaining angels unawares and other beings unawares. So you always want to, you know, and so Spirit is saying, if you need help to do your spiritual work, you have your teams, ask them. Spirit isn't asking for you to be perfect, right? Your teams know you. They know what you signed up for. They know your, the pitfalls you placed yourself into with certain families and certain jobs and certain whatever, because you have a spiritual soul curriculum, right? You're working on quite a few things, but don't undersell yourself, right? All right, let's look at these last. Leadership and decisions. Don't play, guys. Don't play. Clothing, let your outer express your inner. What are we talking about today? We're talking about remembering what you are. You have to remember what you are. From now on, when I say, what are you? You say, I'm a child of God, period. And that means that cute little lamb, right? And you chose to be here of spiritual service. And because you chose to be here in service to Spirit, you must remember what you are so that you can align with the frequency that you need in order to create the conditions around you. We're talking about matter, to order the matter around you that will be here to be in service for others. In order to do that, you have to have the right mindset. And this is what we're working, and you've been working lifetimes for this. You guys, as I'm feeling into some of you are really off planet people. We can call them star seeds, things like that. Some of you really are, and this isn't your first rodeo. So, we're here to tell you that we want you in the right frame of mind. So whatever it is that you are working on right now, get into alignment with yourself. Focus on the know thyself, right? Look at what it is that you're doing. What are you doing? What are you seeing? What are you experiencing in your life? What does your life look like? What can you clean up? What can you surrender? All sorts of stuff, because Spirit wants to make deliveries, is what I'm getting. And I feel that maybe they did a little bit earlier in this call already. Spirit wants to make deliveries. In order to, quote unquote, deliver to you, you have to have the mindset that leads to the frequency that allows you to be a vibrational match to these things coming in. And so that's what I do. Hi. So while we're on this call, what we're doing is shifting your perceptions, clearing your energetic vessels and all of that, so that you can be a vibrational match to the high frequencies that Spirit wants to give you for your journey. And so if you're on this call still, hi, then know that you're receiving it. But notice how we've had to condition your mind a bit. We've had to deprogram you. We have to convince you of what you are. The only reason why we're saying convince is because we're working with heavy programming that has convinced us otherwise. So we have to bring ourselves back into remembrance of what we are so that we can be the frequency holders that we need to be. Now, amongst you frequency holders are what we would call builder beings. And you're like in the middle, I'm seeing, let's say in the middle here. So some people, some souls come to hold frequencies so that other souls can receive things, retrieve things, and be the channel through which things can come through and information can come through and be made aware for other people so they can be inspired. But really, really, we're connected by frequency. So if you are struggling with maintaining your frequency, you've got to reach out to spirit and you've got to let spirit help you. Now, I'll always say it on this channel, you don't have to light 10 candles, you don't have to get this, that, do that, blah, 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 because all you're doing then is engaging in things outside of you for the sake of going inside. Just sit and ask. Although, because you may still believe that these outside things have more power than you, or they have the ability to direct energy and all that, if you want to use it to help you strengthen your own mind, go for it. But always remember, come back to self and know what you're doing. I am all powerful. But part of me still believes that power can be found outside of me. So I'm going to outsource my mental power to these candles and to these tattoos and to these things and to whatever, so that I can cater to the part of me that still is enshrouded in illusion and believes that it can draw power from these things. But when you really work at the highest levels, you realize there's nothing outside of me that I need to draw power from. I'm the power circuit. Why do you think that so many people on this planet who do not have your health and well-being in mind, or the health and well-being of others in mind, are spending so many billions of dollars to control your mind? Because you are the power. But a lot of people cannot see that, and they will not in this lifetime. And so that's why we need helpers to come through, to align with the frequency, to hold the frequency, to do it long enough and consistently enough, and to withstand the distractions, the illusions, the temptations. The only way you can fell, F-E-L-L, cool word, cool verb. The only way you can fell a sovereign being who is in their right mind is by convincing them otherwise. If I can convince you that you're not what you are, you will be convinced into weakness. And from that moment onward, you're living in your I am not, and you are susceptible to corruption of the mind. And so when we talk about spiritual discipline, we're looking for that level of, oh, I'm gonna let you finish, but God had the best album of the year, right? We're looking for that kind of energy where it's like, oh, I recognize that I'm feeling unworthy, but I understand that unworthiness is not part of me. It's only a byproduct of the thoughts I believe on some levels of my field to be true, but that's what I'm here to help heal in myself and in others. As I open up to more of what I am, which is pure source, beautiful, high vibrational, complete, and whole already, awake. As I open up and hold that frequency, every time I do that, I'm allowing spirit to flow through me and to clear up my false beliefs. And that is going to allow me to be the conduit that I need to be for other people to catch a vibe. Because you can't force anybody to do anything. You have to be the vibration that reminds them that there is hope, that there is joy, that there's love, that there's acceptance, that God is alive, that the light is real, that the truth is even better than they could ever imagine. You've got to entice them. Because remember, in the human form, we're just here to make a decision. Love or fear, light or dark, right? That's it. That's it. And it's not going to come about being all light or being all dark. It's about understanding that while I'm in this embodied form, for whatever reason my soul wanted, I'm going to be bombarded by both. Both of this is polarity. This is the universe. This universe that I'm in this time. And yeah, literally this time, right? Is one of polarity. And I understand that. But my power is choice. And so I understand when I'm feeling certain things that are not life affirming, that's not me. That's a byproduct. Because the real me cannot feel those things and have those things. So what you're doing is you are walking on this planet with divine consciousness. Your divine self is what you use to inform your identity down here. Now, it's interesting that these cards wanted to come out because I don't know if you guys were following my channel earlier, some maybe a couple months ago, I bought these cards specifically when Spirit was bringing through a lot of frequencies about divine consciousness, divine selves. This is that. And these cards were brought to me because look how you can't notice it, but these people, they're like way up in these cards. So they're huge. And the perspective I'm seeing is like we would be small down here, like looking up. This is the divine self. So this deck, you may notice I never use it unless there's something coming through about the God within. And I was like, why does this deck want to come out? Because it doesn't come out ever unless whatever. And here it is that we're talking about the divine consciousness, the real you. Okay, so if you're really interested in this and if you feel called to this, if this is something their spirit is saying, we remind you, you will have the mantle of protection, they're saying. So some of you may be a little bit afraid about taking a certain step in a certain direction with spirit. So I'm seeing some of you like, oh, I don't know, I'm scared. All right, and that's okay. The spirit is saying that doing this divine work comes with its own protections. Interesting. So I don't know who these messages are for. I just got four. So I don't know, maybe four people. I don't know, or more. I don't know. It's none of my business. I'm just the messenger. I'm just giving the message here. Two more cards, you're saying. I heard the word seven. Oh, seven? Maybe seven people? I don't know. But they want two more cards. Where's this one? This stuff. Oh, look at this 25/7. Cute. Animals, honor the animal kingdom. Homes, live in an ecological, creative, and fun space. Yeah, they're reminding me to tell you guys what I was saying about the builders. So those people who have a soul contract on this planet to be builders, you have a function where you of course, you have to do all this that we were talking about, right? Where you get into frequency, do your best to hold frequency, but you're very important to be a frequency holder, builder people, because you're literally serving as the bridge, is what they're saying. And some of you will know what I'm about to say next. And getting specifically for somebody here, maybe a couple of you, you may have had some red herring lives or lifetimes and even pathways in this lifetime. I'm getting up to three of them where maybe you may have built three things, or maybe you may even span three different careers or something. It feels almost like having three different personas in this lifetime. Maybe you don't even have friends that span all of those years because they wouldn't even recognize you, right? So for you in particular, whoever you are, I'm getting you've been identity hopping, and that's obviously not for everybody here. And spirit is saying that's all part of your camouflage, they're saying. So that reminds me, because we have to hide certain people from certain things, let's put it this way. That reminds me, remember, some people have signed up for certain positions where they don't even know that they're doing certain things, and they're really operating at very, very high frequencies and secret frequencies, so to speak. And in fact, one person many years ago, no names, I don't remember, I had to get permission from spirit before I could even get into their field, right? So you have to understand that if you, a lot of people talk about, oh, star seedy things and blah, 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 blah. They don't, a lot of them, they may not really understand that when we do certain works and services, yeah, it may run a little bit deeper than you think. So please, if you ever find yourself feeling like a loser or just whatever, just understand you never know who you really are sometimes. So just love yourself, okay? Just always love yourself. And even if you, whatever you find yourself describing yourself as, even if you sit and say, I want to be the best me that I can be, that's all spirit wants. And that's when you're working with the right spirit, right levels of spirit, you understand that. God just wants you to be in your most joyful state because when you are in your most joyful state, that is high frequency. Joy brings its own protections. A lot of people may not understand that or believe that because they don't understand how frequency works. It's very high on the frequency scale. And that's why they say when laughter is the best medicine, it's high frequencies. Gratitude is a panacea. It's frequency, cuts right through a lot of low frequencies. But it takes really, really, I don't want to say meritus, and but meritus and strong souls and disciplined, spiritually disciplined people. Even if in this lifetime they're not spiritual people at all. You don't know what people have been doing in their other lifetimes, let alone on different levels of their field, right? But to hold frequencies, you have to be pretty high there. And for builder people, your job specifically is to receive frequencies and to hold your frequency enough to allow those frequencies to pass through you and be made manifest in this world. So all you need to do is to deliver these frequencies to who whatever souls are here to retrieve them. You may not even know. You may just be at a Kroger's. That's really specific. I don't know why. I've never even walked in a Kroger's, but anyway, you may be in a Kroger's and somehow being in an elevator or something, or like, guys, oh my gosh, okay, I don't know when the call got cut off there, but it's so interesting because the last words that I said was and you just made the handoff, and that was it. And then it just cut off and I realized, oh, so that was spirit's sign to me that whatever message I needed to come through and give to you guys has just been delivered. So oh, which is great because literally talking myself hoarse right now, to hear it, but anyway, it's such a pleasure. But anyway, just I don't know when it cut off, but I wanted to let you know this the story that they were saying is for the builder people who come here to who have a role, a function, a spiritual service to be builders within this new earth frequency. When I say new earth, there are many versions of earth we know, but we were trying to get the earth into higher frequencies. And so if you're watching this and you consider yourself to be a builder person, you'll know, or they'll let you know, then your job is to not only be in a position where you can receive the frequency, so you have to bring your frequency up, right? um, and if you're still listening to this, then you're well within range to receive these high frequencies that spirit wants to deliver. So you have to be able to receive this, then you have to be able to hold that frequency, hold your frequency, right? So remember, remind yourself what you are. And no matter what emotions you think you're feeling, things you think you're seeing, anything that makes you feel a certain way, you acknowledge it. Okay, I'm feeling grief. All right, but this grief is not part of me because I am, right? I am source. I am a divine fragment of God. I am the child of God. You can keep it simple, right? God cannot grieve, so I cannot grieve. But yet I'm experiencing grief. That grief is not part of me. It's a byproduct, meaning it's a phantom energy. It is a byproduct of false beliefs that I'm carrying in my mindset somewhere, but I'm in the process of healing. So I don't want to give it more credence than it should have. It's a byproduct. That's it. Let me bring myself back into, let me cater to myself, do the self-care that I need, do my therapy, whatever, cognitive, whatever work, tapping, whatever I need to pass that energy. But then let me remind myself of what I am and keep going. right? And so you do that, you deny. That's the denial. You're denying what is not you. So that's you saying, I do not give my permission to be programmed to believe that this is me. It's not, because I know what I am. So that right there, lifesaver, it'll save your life, right? Anyway, so you have to hold the frequency of what you are long enough to be able to maintain your ability to carry and transmit and channel and be a conduit for these divine frequencies that spirit is bringing through you to this earth, and so that other people who have soul contracts can receive those. Now, very important for those of you who are builder people, you're not here to be part of the building process. You're here to be the bridge through which these energies can come and be built. So the thing about a lot of builders is that they want to, yeah, you may be involved in certain, like constructing certain things, and that could be looking like building a business, getting the business started, whatever, but you're not there to run the business. And you notice a lot of people in the corporate world who are builders, like they get paid a lot of money to come in and help open businesses and this and that. They may get very tied to certain projects, but that's not their job. Their job is to go and open another company and another company and another company. And sometimes it brings them pain because they would like to stay with the child or the creation or the whatever, the organization that they've built. But that's not their job, because at nature, they're builders. And so spirit is asking you to recognize this. So for some of you, when spirit says it's time to let this project go that you've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into, it's time to hand it off. It's time to allow others to take over, whatever it is, you've got to allow that so that you can be available for your next assignment. Right? So anyway, whoa, this is a whole big week is what I'm getting. Because I mean, like this is supposed to be a weekly reading, but you also know that part of my job, my spiritual service, is to be a channel for people who have spiritual service, and also to teach, heal, and motivate specifically is what my guides say. And part of the teaching process is to make sure that those who are here for spiritual service and in positions of leadership, where you lead other leaders, right, that they have the mindset that they need to stay on path. And so that's why here, when we're doing this work that we're doing, we're asking you to be of a higher frequency, right? And there's always help. Come find me, because that's what I do. I help. I'm your friendly local counselor, your intuitive guide, your ascension guide, whatever you want to call it. Remember, we don't get caught up in the, oh, I just had deja vu. We don't get caught up in the titles. We get caught up in the function. We do what we just need to do, right? And we do it with love. So anyway, anything else, guys? Anything else? Okay. All right, I think that's good enough. It's funny because I just heard them say there's a part of you that wants to stay too, but you have to go. So I don't know if that's just a message for me, or if it was a message for me, if I needed to bring it out to you guys, but you know me, I'm going to report it. And so that's what that is. Oh, they said draw a card. I heard the word eight. Number eight, I don't know. Jump shift your life. Interesting. Oh, jump shift. Do I need to? I don't know. Look, seven. Is there one more? Sexuality, express pure love. And this last one, I feel like maybe wanted to come in communal markets. Trust all that you will need. Trust all you need will come to you. Express pure love and jump shift your life. Okay. Interesting. So we just talked about needing to go. And the first card I get is jump shift your card. Yeah. Yeah. And also they said your card. Okay, interesting. Oh, here's my card. Okay. Somebody needs to meet me here. I don't know who, but and also I have to go because I have 3D work to do. I just did a few 10-hour days, and I got a couple. I think I have another one ahead of me today. So thank you guys. If you'd like to connect with me, you know exactly where to find me. God bless you. And do your best to be your best this week. And that's all you can be. Okay. Mwah.